they have family rates for. Rates
Yeah,
much.
and the 9% cost increase that we're being handed down.
You pay their family rate for all of the employees.
Well,
We'll
then,
check that one.
so just a technical question. We're supposed to inform Tammy of whatever we want changed. We're making chicken scratches all over our budgets. How do we keep track of what we're going to have to hand Tammy to change?
I'll start a sheet maybe. And I'll just keep it by department. Of what we all agreed with.
I'll have to get it later, but it's a sheet, but anyway.
So while you were gone, we were discussing how we're going to hand Tammy all these changes. So she's starting a
Okay.
sheet of
I'll
changes.
start with auditor.
Thank you.
We're gonna do 1% COLA. Right?
1% COLA, and we've agreed to the 9% insurance. All right, are we all finished then with the clerk budget?
Yep.
Auditor, we had no changes. I'll just, help me ask her a question about the medical.
That was the only question,
Okay,
Yeah, I would,
but
we'll just double check it.
everything else was pretty normal. And that one probably is too. So, all right, so now we would move to the assessor budget. And I think it would be appropriate to go over and see if the assessor or his deputy wants to be here to answer questions. If we have questions, I guess we could take a look at it and see if we have any questions.
I didn't see really anything after benefits that raised in this. Fighting supplies, they raised $350. And they went down on vehicle expense. I didn't really see
I thought theirs looked pretty good.
I think my question was the other direction, medical insurance, there's no increase whatsoever. Is that probably just a change in family status of change of employees? Because there's no 9% increase or anything. Or actually they
Actually, it went down a little bit.
dropped their medical insurance.
Yeah, I see that. So we need a hard figure on that to see what it is.
So
Should he-
we know it will go up, but I'm wondering if they counted on that going up and they've changed employees, so they changed
Yeah.
family status.
Well, one of the things is I think the problem that we have, that we're gonna run into is, like with planning and zoning, one of the planning and zoning people have insurance through another place, but I believe that we should be budgeting for a family for each item, because if you have to replace them, that person in the middle of the year or within the first of the year, we're gonna be out of budget. And we'll just have to make sure that they don't spend it, but I think we need to make sure that we're covered in that aspect.
Is that where our 25% comes in to cover us for
So the
any changes or?
25%. Oh,
Like
I
our
don't
rates
know.
and-
I'm not sure if that, because I think the 25%, if we are over, yeah, maybe we can do that. You're right.
But I'll have all the medical double checked, just to be sure.
If we have enough significant questions, we can just ask the assessor to come in, but on this budget, everything else looks pretty straightforward, I think. Does anybody see anything that they want to ask about? Office supplies went up because office supplies are going up. Vehicle expense is down. Maintenance equipment is up significantly, but that was at the budget officer's request. equipment maintenance. And I don't,
Yeah, he didn't have it on his, have new vehicles, so not for.
equipment maintenance is up 300%.
And that's on,
The assessors 0492. And the assessor did not make that change. The budget officer did. So I'm sure there's some reason. I just don't know what it is.
I think that was, she did that for tires and oil change. If they need tires
I
in
think
1 year, that's,
But they have a
equipment
vehicle
maintenance is just
expense.
like their machines, their
oh, okay.
They have
operate,
a
their flat
vehicle.
machines and all that.
Is it copy machines,
Copy machines should be under,
capital expenditures?
well, there used to be a 490 line item and she took it out. It was copy leases. It should be copy, copiers and maintenance now.
Okay.
But, yeah, she took that line item out.
And I also see a capital expenditure of 6,495 that we probably need to ask what that,
Is that a copier?
So
I don't know.
that might. Yeah, 490 is not in there anymore, longer. I would have thought we were
Do you
gonna
think-
keep it.
Do you think that is a copier?
I don't know.
Okay,
Yeah, that's not,
so we do have 2 or 3
I don't know why we
questions.
got rid of that line item altogether.
Okay.
It should have remained the same and just be changed, just rather than copy lease to copy maintenance,
Mhm.
copier maintenance.
Well, let's not technically recess, but I will step over and ask if Connie or
Okay.
Jerry has time to come answer a couple questions. Yeah. Well, you can continue
No,
looking
it's
at
good.
that.
And I believe the lease payments, they don't have any more lease payments. And I think the budget officer saw that and zeroed that out. It should be 0, right?
Mm-hmm.
But didn't she figure that the lease was done?
I think so. She has a sheet and she should know the terms of each lease and then they're up.
Found the clerk recessing. He'll be here in 5 minutes and finishing up with somebody, so.
Okay, we could.
We
step
could
back
move
to it.
on and come back to that in a minute when he gets here.
Okay.
I told him it should be pretty short and simple.
Okay.
So we go to the treasurer next.
Okay.
1-03. And we've seen the decrease in the salaries already. We've had that explained to us because of the change in staffing. So that was an actual decrease. Benefits were have to refigure. Their medical went down as well because of changing in staff. And then we move on to any questions about the fee expenses? Travel the same, office supplies.
They requested an increase. Oh, no, that's the same as last year.
Yeah, I
Just
see.
an increase in postage, it looks like.
Telephone's like $40 more. Decrease in the copier maintenance budget, rental and maintenance.
Okay, so she left that one there.
Postage, like you said, a little bitty increase to cover the actual cost. So if you can tell at the bottom line is, she's requesting $1,000 less than last year. Fee expenses.
And then the AP development, DP new development, maybe I was wrong on that one. We probably need to clarify that. Is that something that are they gearing up with this new program to have somebody come in and train on it? Is that what that is? I think we need to ask that question. Because we've only spent.
It's usually new deployment of programs or
Okay.
whatnot on our systems.
So,
And sometimes it'll include the updates.
I think we're gonna probably ask the treasurer if she would mind coming over and answering a couple questions after we get finished with the assessor.
Okay.
Capital expenditures, looks like there's not been any.
Yeah.
And now there's 8,000, so I don't know if that's a copier or what that
Well,
is.
8,000, wasn't that what they were gonna use for temporary employment when they have, when they do the tax?
But not under capital expenditure. You couldn't do temp employment under
There's
capital.
temp wages up here
Temp
that they have put in for, which would cover the temporary help that they bring in during tax time.
Okay, that was the 12,000.
Yeah.
And they've never used that before.
No.
No,
they've not
but then
done
there's
that.
8,000 down at the bottom for capital.
That might be switching over to the new copies, purchasing our copiers rather than leasing them for that same price each year.
Okay, so we have 2 or 3 questions for the treasurer. And so, again, I would suggest we move on and come back to this one after we can get the treasurer to come over. If that makes sense. So I'm looking at the notes and I'm just not, I don't see the answers to our questions. Is that fair? Can you come back to that one?
Yep.
All right. So Matt, I'm not forgetting you. When we come back to these with the elected officials, save your questions. I'll let you ask them budget by budget. This next one is 0105 commissioners. And I think this is the one that Jeff prepared, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, Jeff.
So now we can pick on Jeff. Excellent job. Yeah.
Yeah, didn't move nothing up to travel and.
You've got the increase in meals and lodging to account for the fact that we have 3 commissioners in training. You upped, or she upped registration, I guess you did, she upped a little bit, and travel. To account for 3 of us actually interested in training. My question on the travel and registration is, there's not anything there for NACO. Is your suggestion that we just not do NACO for another year?
Yeah, I thought that, or we could, we could use, if we wanted to do that, we can always,
Use a grant?
use a grant, or we can, we can always take from, current expense. I mean, we have that ability. If we have something that comes up, we can do that. But I think we should try a grant if we were to do that. Maybe we can do that during the
Would be the LETCF. probably.
yeah, during that. That's the big expense, I think. It's gonna be about $7,000, right? For one person?
For NACO?
No.
No. You got your airfare, your hotel, and you remember, I think it was 2,500 or for one
Okay.
person to do that.
On today's airfare?
Yeah, it would, depends on the time of year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's $2,500, but so the understanding would be if we decide to send someone to NACO, that we'd probably have to use Grant. Is that all right with you?
Yeah, it's okay with me.
Um,
He requested 1,500 in office supplies and she dropped it to 1,000.
and my opinion is if we're gonna be going to 3 offices like we've talked about, that we might want to leave it at 1,500
I would agree.
while we
Mhm.
are refurbishing.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna be moving the 3 of us a little bit, and Sydney gets jostled a little bit. She loses her famous window with the bee in it. So we may have to get her a solar light to keep the bee
Yeah.
moving. But
What do you think about, we're gonna, the 1%, do you think, for the commissioners? I would waive that for the commission, for my commissioner.
Good afternoon. Well, let's come back to that.
Okay.
Okay, now that we got the assessor for a minute, we don't have a lot of questions, but we wanted, since we haven't had a chance to meet with you on yours, we just wanted to ask, I think we got 2 or 3 questions was all. The first one was that I have is that you didn't show any increase on medical insurance, even though we know, I think the clerk moved everybody up 9% to cover the cost of increase. Is that just because of staffing changes? I'm wondering why your expense for medical insurance wouldn't have gone up 9%.
It should have went up 9%.
Yeah, because it actually
Good.
went down from last year, she shows.
Yeah.
So,
But I'm not,
Could it
Did
be
you
a
lose any
change in
employees?
employees, the families versus single, or?
no,
okay.
I'm just wondering, did we have the calculation when we submitted that?
Everybody else has it in there.
Okay.
Everybody else went up
We
9%.
submit ours really like the second day because we're going into June. And I don't know if we had
If you knew that.
the confirmed
Maybe
for
we
sure
didn't.
9%.
Yeah.
but
Okay, well, listen, I'll double check with her on
Okay.
that.
Okay, so we may need a 9% increase on that actual cost. The second question I had down is under equipment maintenance, you had requested the same 500 you had last year, but the budget officer put it up to 1,700. Do you have any idea why she increased your request? And if you have to go away and get answers, I understand that.
I'd have to ask Tammy because we talked about several things. Would,
So I don't see the line for the copier machine any longer.
right,
So she putting that under there,
because
that
we're
makes,
gonna purchase those outright. And I was wondering if that increase was for the
Maintenance of that.
on it.
Copier,
Yeah.
and so
that rings a bell.
capital
Yeah.
expenses she added, so I wonder if that'll be the purchase of it.
That would be my guess, but I'm only guessing.
We may double check with Tammy on that.
Were you gonna check with her and Tammy?
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
okay.
I'll make these questions.
And so that's what that
I'll let you
capital
know, but-
expenditure would be, is the copier.
Yeah.
Okay. Now the DP new development, wait, I've seen that through the budgets. What is that?
So that's basically, BJ does something specifically for our office.
Okay.
So some of that comes out of county general, if it affects several
Everybody.
departments,
Yeah,
but if it's just for us, then we take it out of that line.
okay, I see. Okay.
Okay. Did anybody, I covered the 2 or 3 questions that I had written down that we had.
That was it.
Otherwise, we appreciate that you tried to keep your budget pretty flat.
Yeah, makes it easier.
Anybody, any other questions?
No, I got mine answered.
And I know you have
Okay,
other
so-
budgets, so when we get close to them, Sydney or I or somebody will come over and try to give you a heads up in case you want you or Connie to come over.
Okay, and I guess that 9% would just Same with those two also.
They
Yeah.
were all submitted. at the same time.
We'll check, see
Okay.
what's up with that.
Yeah,
Thank you,
those-
sir.
Those I know changed. Okay. Long time no see.
I know, you missed me, didn't you?
Oh,
He talks about it all the time.
Yeah.
It's the name white, huh?
Sure.
They come over to the white side.
Take care.
You do.
How are things going?
I went up and I think that we should be able to probably come back on Friday with some of her sheets that she should be getting to you guys. I explained some of the stuff that, the thing that was, you know, what I found was regarding the Justice Department on it.
Yeah,
Because I was looking for the tax money, where's all the money? But it's your justice fund that would make the difference. But I did offer my services to her employees and herself also. And I said, because she's behind. And I said, I get that. I said, you know, there's a lot to do on these budgets, but for you to have all the right information, that they need that. And I said, I always presented it to you. So it was in agreement. And, she asked, I said they had just made a motion to do it 1%, and that's regarding across the whole board. And that's including solid waste fees. This is what, she asked me, should I change that figure to, you know? I said, that's a commissioner's decision, but I said, there was a motion made, it's 1%. But did you give her a balance from last week on solid waste? Are you raising their salaries in solid waste and then the 1%?
Yeah.
I mean, these are the things that you need to make sure it's
yeah.
clarified to budget officers.
And we haven't got to that one yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what
Okay,
she was asking,
that's a good
because if
point.
she changes her sheet,
Yeah,
I mean, it's
She's got-
crazy when you start changing sheets.
It's amazing. Yeah,
And I had asked her about her spreadsheet, the old one that we had, and she's got it by individual department that she wrote there. So,
okay,
and she said she won't be caught up till Friday, and I said, then we can come back Friday. Yeah,
Well, we'll have to change the agenda.
let's go ahead and do that.
So let's, at our
We
next,
probably-
at our lunch recess, which we
are you at a
should probably
recess?
do.
then?
No.
Okay.
But when we recess for lunch here shortly, then let's, you and I make a note on agenda change for Friday. Or is it too late to change Thursdays? We're on Tuesday.
If we do it right now, we can do 1 o'clock on Thursday.
That would make more, well, she won't have her stuff until.
That's right.
She's got a lot of changes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right.
Okay,
And a lot of things.
so are you guys okay with Friday?
if she'll have it by Friday, I don't wanna over push her, but would Monday be too late for us to redeem?
I'm
we
out,
can be-
I'm out of town
You're out
Monday.
on Monday, okay.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Tracy, you gotta realize you've gotta get it into the paper. I don't,
Oh, okay,
yeah.
yeah,
She's
she's paper timeline
advertising
too.
that, and that's what you might be running into.
So we can probably go through the line items today and finish the line items. I think we can probably whip those out pretty good and then,
Yeah,
get the,
I'm just thinking that we should recess for lunch and go ahead and get a agenda change out for Friday for a 9 o'clock general budget session.
Yep.
And then if it turns out she can't get the things by Friday, I guess we'll have to cancel it, but at least we're on the agenda for that. That makes sense? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. How do you all feel about taking a short lunch break? Okay. All right. What do you want? 30 minutes, 45,
Mhm.
up to you.
30 fine.
30 is fine?
Get back
Okay.
at it.
We're gonna, I'd entertain a motion to recess for 30 minutes for lunch.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we are going to go to recess, but there'll be no playing during recess. There's some working.